Morning. Today we're talking about the Strength Matters nutrition system. Oh, an absolutely beautiful morning here in Cardiff this morning. Look how misty it is. How epic is that? That's pretty cool, huh? Tell you something, you don't often see Butte Park this quiet, which is pretty cool, but look at this. Shame we can't fly the drone to us. That'd be pretty cool to see Cardiff in the sunrise. Anyway, before we get started today, I want to share a quick fat loss tip, something I've learned in the last few weeks. So my fat loss results, for me personally, my fat loss program have stalled just slightly. We've left it for 2 weeks to see how it was going to plan out and see how it's played, but nothing happened. So we've added something a little bit interesting, and I'm on it now actually. I'm on my little 30-minute post-workout walk. So what I found is in the last few weeks, after my fat loss program stalled, I'll be going for a 30-minute walk after my training program and after my workout. What's happened is my waist has decreased by 0.5 cent to 1 centimetre each week. So I'm going to tell you more about that later on in the coming weeks because I'm interested to see how that goes. But anyway, just a little tip for you. Go for a 30-minute walk after your workout and you may see improved fat loss results. Just saying, just something to think about today. So 2020 was the year that I finally decided to give up thinking that all you need was a fancy training plan to lose weight and to lose body fat. That's right, after 10 plus years in the industry, and no matter how much research and information I read about nutrition and my learning around nutrition, I still didn't want to believe it, mostly because I love food so much, but also because I just wanted to see if I could prove it wrong. But I finally gave up in 2020 and accepted the fact that you just simply can't out-train a bad diet. Is exercise important? Absolutely. You should exercise as often as humanly possible for your health, for your well-being, for fat loss, for weight loss, for your mental health, mental clarity, and everything else in between. I love exercising. It's been why I've exercised first thing this morning and now going on this walk to try out this new fat loss thing that I'm playing out with behind the scenes here. But it shouldn't be the main thing. If weight loss and fat loss is your goal, exercise is just part of the magic equation. And we need to think bigger about this and understand more about the other components that go up to a fat loss and weight loss plan. And that's what I've been working on the last 12 months, 24 months, actually last 2 years during the pandemic, because I've really gone down into the world of nutrition, finding out what the Strength Matters system of nutrition is. And that's important because everyone has their own little ways of doing things. What I wanted to work out was what is our system of nutrition? And over the last few months, well, it's culminated in our book, Nutrition Over 30, which is coming out very soon. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that at another time. However, today I want to talk about the process that we go through with every single training client when it comes to nutrition. Hey little guy, how's it going? You're a friendly little thing, aren't you? Where are you going to? That was my nuts. What are you doing, little fella? What's going on there? Quite possibly the tamest wildlife ever. There's robin redbreast over there, squirrels doing their thing over there. That's kind of cool. Now, it's all too common to see clients come to us after years and years of trial and error of trying to work out more, and not seeing results in the gym. And they are so frustrated and downhearted at the end of it. And I totally understand that. Trust me, that's kind of my process at the moment. I can't believe how my fat loss and goals were stalling. I was training 6-7 days a week, twice a day sometimes, and I was counting every calorie meticulously. And the one change that I made to my lifestyle was the actual increased walking post-gym work and doing more walking and adding my steps in general. That was the thing that triggered the next stage. What it could be for you, it could be completely different. But I understand your frustrations and see it time and time again. So the older you get, the harder it is to lose weight, sadly. Not impossible, but you've got to make changes to your lifestyle and everything else around it. It's not just the workouts you've got to concentrate on. It's the system and the process you go through to find out what that is, to find out your tipping point to help you lose weight. But working out more isn't always the solution. Now, when I talk about nutrition, it does center around fat loss and weight loss. Why? Because most people over 30 are looking for those answers. It's the magic phrase that everyone, and the magic pill and the solution everyone's looking for. And it's what everyone wants to hear and trying to find the solution that's right for them. Performance is very different. We can performance at a later date. However, fat loss is the key thing and what I'm trying to here today. Now, everyone wants to look good naked. Aesthetics is important. However, when I'm talking about fat loss, you have to understand this. It's about health, it's about longevity, and it's about athletic performance. Aesthetics is a nice side bonus you get with it when you have everything else under control and you focus on those other three elements. This is industry and also mainstream media get a bit conflicted and a bit confused. Now, mainstream media talk about how people are going to die. Well, that doesn't work. Just scaring people anymore ain't going to work into losing weight. We've heard that. It goes over our head. We just totally ignore it. And the same when it comes to the fitness industry. Most of the people in the fitness industry focus on fat loss goals for aesthetics. And that's such a superficial thing to look at. It's not meaningful. It's not deep meaning. You're not going to add attachment to it. And it's not going to drive you to really go on to success unless you're a little bit narcissistic and that's all you crave for. Think about this. If you're looking for fat loss, you've got to focus on health, longevity, and athletic performance. You focus on those, then aesthetics comes with it. And this is the thing. Most nutritionists and fitness gurus will tell you to focus on what you need to eat first and foremost. Well, what I've learned over the years is that we shouldn't put nutrition first. Quite controversial, and it's important. Yes, everything else alongside working out needs to be in place. However, what we found is some people are just not ready to hear or talk about nutrition yet. They're nutrition beginners and they haven't got the foundation and structure in place to support them on the nutrition goals, because nutrition is hard, particularly when you're starting out for the first time. I need to find out where you sit on the nutrition spectrum, what type of preferences you like, what type of things do you enjoy. It takes a lot out of you, and particularly when it comes to being in a calorie deficit, it's pretty hard mentally and physically. Now, if you've been listening to the channel or reading our blogs for some time, you'll understand what WWS is: walk, water, sleep, and the 777 rules. Walk 7,000 steps, drink 7 glasses, and sleep 7 hours a night. That's our WS and 777 rule. Now, that was the starting point for the whole process that we were going to work with clients. We call it the Strength Matters process, and we follow this with every single client that we work with to see where they're at and to see if they're ready for nutrition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head home, go back to the office, finish my walk. I've got another 20 minutes left of my walk to do now. And I want to dive into it and show you what the process is and what the top level 40,000 foot overview is and how you can apply it to your training today. Right, so let's dive into the Strength Matters nutrition process, or the Strength Matters process as we kind of refined it. So we talked about WWS, and that was the foundation for everything else that we're going to do here. So we needed to create a formula, like a chart, like a process, like a system that us as coaches would follow each and every time that we were going to work with a client, particularly when it came to nutrition, because everyone was at different stages of their nutrition life or their nutrition goals. And we need to find out where they were at every step of the way, but also set them up for success. Because nutrition is hard. It's one of the hardest things you can do. It's one of the hardest things to change with people. So what we want to do is create a system where we're implementing new habits, but stacking upon each other to give them a foundation of success. So when we approach the nutrition topic, everything becomes a lot easier. And that's how the process, the Strength Matters process, was born. So let's dive into death by PowerPoint very briefly, I promise, and show you what we're doing. Let's start off with the 4 quadrants. The quadrant 1, which we call activity. This is where you're walking, you're sitting, and your workouts all come into play in this area here. Now, that's the first thing we're going to look at when it comes to people's activity levels. And before we determine whether nutrition is the right place to start with them, we're going to look at the activity levels and what they're doing currently. Are they walking 7,000 steps a day? How much are they sitting? How much are they working out each week? Are they being consistent with their workouts? That's the low-hanging fruit, the stuff that we can all agree on that we need to do more of. Now, a specific example here with me. So my fat loss results stalled. I wasn't walking enough and I was sitting too much. I was doing my workouts, I had my nutrition on point. However, the sticking point for me was the walking and sitting. I'm doing a lot of writing at the moment, I'm doing a lot of filming, so I'm sitting down more than I usually am. So we bumped the walking up to avoid sitting and try and make me sit less, and that's where the results started to make a change. And that's for me. So that's an example here, the activity here. Get this right and we'll go a long way. So this leads us into quadrant 2, hydration, where we look at water, alcohol, soda levels, and coffee. Good old coffee, the blood and the fruits of life right there. We need to talk about hydration. So what we find is if we stack walking first, we then get that right, people naturally want to drink more. So when we come to the hydration thing, and the hydration topic, people tend to be drinking more, but we still want to see where they're at. So we want to look at water levels first and foremost, not only how much you're drinking, but how much you're absorbing. That's really important. Super tip for you now. Put some electrolytes in your water, or take something like Shilajit to allow the body to absorb more water, because most people over 30 pee a lot, particularly during the night, and they can't absorb water. So super tip there. We look at alcohol levels and soda levels. That's important because your weight loss or fat loss goals can often stall by something simple like this. I'll give you an example. What we didn't realise at one point was a client of ours was drinking 18 cans of full fat soda a day. Think about that, 18 cans. That's about 150, 200 calories per can. There was no way in a million years we were going to help her lose weight. We're just consuming that many calories on top of what she's already doing. That's the thing, she didn't consider how many calories are in. That's we looked at that sort of levels here. I'm not saying that soda's bad or good for you right now. I'm just saying from a calorie standpoint, full fat soda of 18 cans a day is a hell of a lot, let alone what that does to your teeth and everything else in between. And then we look at coffee as well, because coffee causes hydration. We're going to bear that in mind. So if we're drinking 2-3 cups of coffee a day, how much more water are we going to drink on top of that? So this is where WWS comes in as well. So we've got walking 7,000 steps, quadrant 1. Then in quadrant 2, we've got the hydration, minimum 7 glasses of water a day, sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less, depending on where we're at. But that's kind of where the 2 quadrants lead in. Then it leads into quadrant 3, which is lifestyle. We're looking at sleep, WWS, remember sleep, stress, and your daily routines. What's happening? What are your habits day to day? With kids, family, work, all these things combined. Now, you can't really define what lifestyle is because it's very different to every person here in particular. But we can all agree on that we need to sleep more and we need to stress less. And if we control those 2 elements, then we're setting us up for success long term. So quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, people can progress through these fairly quickly. So everyone goes to this stage, elite athletes to everyday Joes who need to lose a little bit of weight. We start here. It's about finding the right quadrant from you to start with, okay? So quadrant 1, which we call activity, how are they walking? Quadrant 2, hydration, and quadrant 3, which is lifestyle. Once we have these 3 quadrants mastered, and now some people could say they master them in a week, but remember, it takes a long time to develop a habit and stick to that habit. We like to see, I know the research says that roughly 66 days to form a habit. So we want to see this over a long, consistent period of time. Before we go into quadrant 4, which is nutrition. And that's when we can start talking about how many calories do you need? How much of a deficit do you need? What type of diet are you going to follow? Keto, you're going to follow carnivore, you can be a vegan, whatever it is. Even intolerances, we're going to discuss those things because they play an impact onto the body as well. So there's so many things that go into nutrition, but it's the most complex. Like I say, I keep joking about this. It's easier to change someone's religion than it is to change someone's diet. But if they're in a good headspace, because they're walking more, if they're hydrating well, they're going to feel good and feel better about themselves, if they're sleeping more, their mental health is going to be in a much better state. And they're going to be much more receptive to have the nutrition talk. Because sometimes when you introduce nutrition right at the start, it's just too much too soon. And we don't want to beat people down when they're already down and they're struggling to lose weight and lose some body fat. We want to set them up for success. So it's about stacking these habits one after the other to set them up to nutrition success. And this goes for everybody that we work with. We always tend to find that if someone's stalling in their performance or their fat loss or weight loss goals, it lies somewhere within quadrant 1, 2, and 3, and that's where we start first. But if you have those nailed down, that's where we lead on to quadrant 4. Now with this process, I want you to think of it as a domino effect, the weight loss domino effect, if you want to think of it like that, because what happens is that every single action that you take, every small habit will have a knock-on effect to other things in life. And that's what we saw anecdotally. And then we just pulled it into the system to actually have structure to the whole thing. Because it forms, it draws on the principles, the two key principles of human behavior: commitment and consistency. We're asking you to commit to walking 7,000 steps a day, working out more and sitting less. If you can do that, then we proceed to the next step, which is hydration. Now, theoretically, if we're walking more, sitting less, we're going to be moving more. That means we're going to be thirstier or get thirstier. So I'd like to think that we're going to have that knock-on effect to cause us to drink more water without us even having to think about it. That's the thought process behind it, and we've seen it anecdotally. And if we're walking more, exercising more, drinking more water, it carries over to less stress and hopefully more sleep. Not always, but sometimes. We see it time and time again. So that's the domino effect we're trying to create here. And it's stacking these habits, getting somebody ready for the big nutrition question and problem that we want to tackle, but we just want to make sure people are ready for it first and foremost. Now, I wanted to share this with you today because nutrition is hard, it's complex. The question I wanted you to ask, and just ask yourself this, is that, are you ready for nutrition? Are you ready for the big nutrition question and making and implementing those changes? Because I think as an industry, as the fitness industry as a whole, we're asking the wrong questions. I think we should be asking the question, are you ready to tackle nutrition? As opposed to, you must do nutrition first to get your abs or see whatever results you want to see. And that's the thing we've changed, and the thought process we've taken and adopted here at Strength Matters is that get people the habits, the foundation, the platform to tackle nutrition. Yes, it's a slower process, but as we know with everything, every diet works. The problem is not the fact we want to lose weight, it's keeping it off in the long haul. And that's the question that we're trying to answer and focus on in health and longevity terms, even athletic performance too. So just think about that. That's why we use the process. We leave nothing to chance. It gives us a starting platform to work with every single client that we work with, and asks us to make sure that we ask the right questions at the right time to set people up for success and tackle the nutrition problem. Because look, here's our belief. Every diet works. You need to be in a calorie deficit for it to work. Yes, hormones and all these other things play a factor in that energy equation, but we need to find out where we're at to begin with. So before we tackle that big question, and I will go into some of those other methods and nutrition strategies later on. It's why I wrote the book as well, Nutrition Over 30. But start asking yourself different questions. Pose the question, are you ready? Well, okay, well, what steps do I need to take to get this person ready or get myself ready to tackle those things? Because I tell you this, people's willpower fades very quickly when it comes to diets. Hell, it fades very quickly when it comes to working out. I think most people get bored of the workout after 2 weeks, half the time. You need to change it every 2 weeks? Apparently, no you don't. Same with diet. You need to have good willpower. You need to have a strategy in place to cope with the boredom sometimes when it comes to nutrition. But if you haven't got the basics right, and if they're not consistent, if you haven't committed to that and you're not consistent with them, then, well, everything else starts to fall off later down the line. So there you go. That's the Strength Matters nutrition process. That's how we adopt and work with and use a strategy to work with all our clients here behind the scenes. So all our coaches use, and I hope you can now use it too, to find out whether you're ready to tackle the nutrition question. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Ask away. Remember to like, subscribe, hell, even leave us a review somewhere if you'd like to, but press that bell notification. I'll see you on the next video.